Hello, baseball fans. This is Anthony with BBSN, and we are back with another game in our 1922 St. Louis Browns Time Machine replay, where, of course, they traveled to 1977 and supplant the Toronto Blue Jays in the American League East. And what we're doing today is also going to implement a spotlight sponsor of the channel with every game we play. And today, as the Browns are back home in South End grounds, or Sportsman's Park, I apologize, the Boston Red Sox come into town for the first meeting of 1977 between these two teams. So only fitting that our friend of the channel sponsor today is Al Red Sox Fan Channel. And he has a great channel. Check him out. Currently, he's got Out of the Park 19 going on, some Red Sox replays, some Strat replays, and again, generally involving the Boston Red Sox. 2nd and 10, both college and pro games. And also, I believe yesterday he got in a little Borderlands on the channel as well. So a very diverse channel, has a little bit of something for everyone, and Al does a great job announcing, one of the best YouTube voices on the internet, in my opinion. And so if you have a chance, check him out. Again, that is Al Red Sox Fan, and in honor of his Red Sox, today's baseball game friend of the channel, BBSN sponsor, however you want to say it. So in this one, the Browns are off to a fantastic start, 11-3 through 14 games, compared to the Blue Jays, who were 7-7 at this point. And if you compare these records to the actual American League East standings, at this time in 1977, the Blue Jays were 2 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Browns, in their stead, with a record of 11-3, early. I always stutter or trip over my tongue early on. But with a record of 11-3, would actually be in first place in the AL East, 2 games ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers. So I think it's very early, a lot of baseball left to go, but I think we can say with some decisiveness that the Browns are proving they definitely belong in the modern era and can compete with anybody in 1977, as evidenced by their last series against my beloved Yankees, who they took 3 or 4 from. So with that, our starting lineups, you see them here for the Sox. Leading off, Burleson at short, Denny Doyle at second base, Jim Rice is a DH tonight, and Carl Yastrzemski, who's still very athletic. He was 11 of 12 in stolen bases that year, even at his advanced point in his career, getting it done. He's at cleanup. Boomer George Scott is at first base. Carlton Fisk, almost hero of the 1975 World Series. And as much as I have to not like the Red Sox, being a big Yankees fan, that 1975 home run was probably one of my favorite World Series moments of all time, because if there's one team I hate worse than the Red Sox, it is the Cincinnati Reds. And actually just a great baseball moment, which I can appreciate no matter who the team is. So Dewey Evans, he'll be in right field hitting 7th. Butch Hobson, third base, hits 8th. And Rick Miller gets a start in center field tonight over Fred Lynn, and he is the 9th place hitter. On the mound, the veteran Fergie Jenkins. And in this game in 1977, when the Sox played the Blue Jays, it was a rout. The Sox beat them behind a 3-hitter by Jenkins 9-0. The Browns tonight trot out their usual lineup: Tobin, Ellerby, Sisler, Williams, Baby Doll Jacobson, McManus, Hank Severide behind the plate, Chick Short, and a designated hitter, Wally Gerber at short. And pitching for the Brownies tonight, their number 3 man, Ray Culp. And the Brownies thus far are hitting .340 as a team, which is absolutely phenomenal. So the bats have been the big thing for the Browns, and they've gotten some good pitching too. Urban Shocker has yet to not see the end of a ball game. He is 4-0, their ace. And Culp has turned in some good performances as well. So we are ready. Let's roll. First pitch of the game, Rick Burleson steps in against Culp, and we are off. And 3 and 8 for Burleson, and that is going to be right away. Sox looking to break out quick, and that's going to be a double for Burleson. So the Rooster pulls into second base, and the Sox are in business against Culp early here. And we are, as usual, expecting some fireworks in this one. 6 and 11, that's going to be a fly ball to right field, and in right field for the Brownies is Tobin, who is a 2. And 11 and a 2 is going to be a single, runners advance 2. So Denny Doyle sparks the Red Sox offense as Rick Burleson chugs around to score. And the Sox break out quickly, 1-0 lead. And doing much, much better than my Yankees did. At least early against the Browns. The Yankees constantly trailed early in their series. Big Jim Rice up. 4 and 8. That's going to be another wrap into the outfield. And Rice with a double. And runners advance 2. So Doyle will have to hold up at third. But the Sox are breaking out big time here in the first inning. Nobody out still. Runners at second, third. Captain Carla, the venerable one. 5-6. That's going to be a pop out to shortstop. That's a huge out for the Browns. As Gerber puts that away. That brings up Big George Scott, the first baseman. Pitch from Culp. 1-6 and struck him out. So Scott goes down swinging. And if Culp can get out of this with only 1 run across, I would say that will be a win. Yeah, the aforementioned Carlton Fisk, providing World Series moments left and right, and he grounds it down to Sisler. Sisler's going to take it himself. So it could have been much worse. The Sox open the game with 3 straight hits, but can only plate 1 run. And we head to the bottom of the first inning. Our score, Boston 1, Brownies 0. And the home crowd here at Sportsman's Park, happy to see the Brownies back as Jack Tobin steps in to face Fergie. 6 and a 7, that's going to be a fly ball to right field. Dewey Evans puts that away, 1 down. And they are facing a tall task with Jenkins, who, despite only going 10 and 10 in 1977, still had a respectable ERA and not a terrible whip. 2 and an 8 to Ellerby, and Ellerby's going to ground it down to third base. Butch Hobson, which is a great baseball player name, takes care of that. Over to Scott for the out. 2 down. George Sisler up. 6-10, and that's a fly ball to center field. And patrolling out there is Baby Doll Jacobson, who is a 1. And he's going to give that a good chase and gets to it for the final out of the inning. So 3 up, 3 down for the Brownies in the first, and as you know, that does not necessarily set the tone for the game, as this team is explosive and they come at you in bunches in terms of hits. Dewey Evans leads it off for the Sox in the top of the second, 4 and an 8. And Culp not getting the rolls on his card as he leads off with a single. So Dewey down at first base, and that brings up Butch Hobson. Hobson, who also went on to manage in the majors later on. 6 and a 5, and that's going to be a fly ball to center field as Rick Miller puts that away. I'm sorry, Rick Miller. Baby Doll Jacobson puts that away, 1 down. Rick Miller will be the Boston center fielder, and he's up next. So Culp set to deliver the pitch. 5-6, and it's going to be a pop out to shortstop. So Wally Gerber's been busy with the pop-ups early on, but we're back at the top of the order. And the Rooster, Rick Burleson, steps up into the box. The pitch is a 5-7, and that's going to be a ground ball down to second base where Marty McManus is a 1. This Browns team does have a fairly stout defense. So 1 and a 9 there, and that's going to be a ground out. So the leadoff single does not come back to bite the Brownies here. One hit, one runner left, and we head to the bottom of the second inning, still 1-0 Boston. Ken Williams set to lead it off, the Browns cleanup hitter, and 4-6 struck him out, so Fergie's dealing. Got the chili con queso going, pun intended. Baby Doll Jacobson, the batter now. And that's a 1-3, and Baby Doll is going to draw a walk, so the Browns have their first base runner of the game. And this Browns team likes to get a little frisky on the base paths, but Baby Doll is not going to get a jump, so he stays put. Marty McManus up. McManus, an unheralded member of this team, is a very good offensive player. Hit .312 in 1922, and at 2-8 is going to be a split chance possible home run. He cranks this one deep, 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 and it is gone just over the wall. And just like I said, this team can explode at any time. And an unlikely source here with the long ball, Marty McManus goes yard on Fergie. And it is 2-1 Browns. Nobody out. Hank Severide, the catcher, up. Severide is another. And 3-5. That's going to be a fly ball to center field, which Miller takes care of. So 2 down. And Chick Shorten steps into the plate. The Browns' designated hitter. Here comes the pitch. 1-7, and he's going to draw the walk. So Shorten gets down to first base, and with the lead, he's one of their terrible base runners. Does not get the jump, thankfully. Wally Gerber up. And Gerb, 6-10, and that's going to be a fly ball to center field. Miller's there. He's a 1. Good defensive center fielder, and he's going to get to that and put it away. So the Brownies are done, but they break on top, courtesy of a 2-run home run by second baseman Marty McManus. We head to the top of the third inning, and our score is St. Louis 2, Boston 1. And Fergie did have the propensity to give up the long ball on occasion. So Denny Doyle will look to get Boston back into it in the top of the third here. 2-5. And struck out. So Doyle heads back to the bench. Jim Rice up now. Rice doubled his first time up, was stranded, however. And here comes a pitch, 5-8. And that is going to be a pop out to first base. Sisler puts that away, 2 down. So this seems to happen a lot. Browns pitchers, they get in a little bit of trouble and then bounce back, and their team eventually explodes, and it's served them well so far. 3-8 to Captain Carl, and Yastrzemski with a single. So Captain Carl on, and he'll try and steal with a roll of 3 or less, and he's actually just missed going there. Actually was their most efficient base stealer. He's a B. No one else in the lineup today is better than the C. George Scott comes up now. Runner on first base. 2 outs. Pitch from Colt. 2-9. And struck him out. So swing and a miss. Big George goes down. The Bo Sox get a hit but leave the runner at first base. And we head to the bottom of the third inning. Score remains 2-1 St. Louis. Fergie back out on the hill. Jack Tobin up. 4-6. Struck him out. So Fergie's dealing too. That's going to be his second strikeout. Has also walked a couple of batters. Frank Ellerby up. 6-7. And it'll be a fly ball to right field. 2 down. And George Sisler up. Sisler's average has fallen below 400, which for him is like 99% of the other players in the game falling below 300. 2-5, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field as well. So 3 up, 3 down, and Fergie, really one mistake thus far in this game, but against this team that will cost you. As we head to the top of the fourth inning, and our score is St. Louis 2, Boston 1. Hopefully you can see these cards. I'm trying a little bit of a new setup to get games to progress a little quicker. I think this should shave a couple of minutes off, so hopefully the cards show up okay. I guess we'll see when I post the video. 4 and an 8 from Kolb, and Kolb, Carlton Fisk is going to single off him. So Pudge starts the 4th inning off with a hit. And he will try and run on a roll of 3 or less. And does not happen. Again, probably a good thing. Up next is Dewey Evans. Fisk has his lead. Here comes a pitch. 6 and a 9, and that's going to be a single. And Fisk is a 13, and we're just going to leave him right there since there's nobody out. Do not want to make the first or the last out of an inning at third base. The old baseball adage there. Butch Hobson steps in. The Sox are in business. Kolb has given up some hits so far. 6 and 11, that's going to be a fly ball to left field. And out in left for the Brownies is Ken Williams. He is a 2. And 2 and a 2, and he gets to that. All runners will hold. So a big play on a blast there by Hobson. And that brings up Rick Miller, the center fielder, in today for Fred Lynn. And 2 and 11, that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. And Gerber's got that over to McManus, back over to Sisler. 6-4-3, twin killing. And the threat is extinguished. So the Red Sox, at this point in the game, already have 7 hits, but they've only put 1 run across. And they strand another and get 1 erased by the double play. So bottom of the 4th inning now, 2-1. Ken Williams steps up into the plate, 3-11, and that's going to be a ground ball to second base. 4-3 on the putout. Baby Doll Jacobson up. Fergie deals. 2-7. And that'll be a ground ball down to third base. Hobson up with it. Long throw over to Scott. 2 down. Marty McManus. The pitch to Marty is a 3 and a 9. And fly ball to center field. And Fergie. Another 3 up, 3 down inning. And in contrast to his opponent on the mound, Fergie is throwing a 1-hitter and trails. That's what the long ball does to you folks as we head to the top of the 5th inning. And back to the top of the order for the Bo Sox. Rick Burleson, the Rooster, steps in. 3 and a 4, struck him out. So Kolb accrues his 4th strikeout of the game. 1 down for Denny Doyle. And Denny Doyle, 2 and a 5. That's going to be another strikeout. Doyle, his 2nd strikeout of the game. Kolb's 5th. And Kolb is not a huge strikeout pitcher. He only fanned 54 in 170 innings in 1922. But he's got the Sox whipping. Jim Rice up. Rice 5 and a 6. And that's going to be a pop out to shortstop. So Gerber takes care of that. And far and away, Kolb's best inning of the game as the Sox go down in order for the first time. Heading to the bottom of the 5th inning, our score remains 2-1 Brownies. Severide leading it off. And 4 and a 5 from Jenkins. It's going to be a ground ball down to second base. 1 down there as Denny Doyle takes care of the Browns catcher, Chick Shorten. Designated hitter steps in. 6 and an 8, pops him up, and under that is Burleson, 2 down. Wally Gerber up, the Browns shortstop. He flew out to center field his first time up, and 2 and a 7, and he draws a walk. The 3rd free pass that Fergie has issued today. And walks are never good. Last time he walked someone. It led to a 2-run home run. Jack Tobin, 5 and a 9, and that's going to be a strikeout, so Fergie comes back decisively. No hits, no runs, no errors. 1 left for the Brownies. We're through 5 and cruising right along. It's 2-1. Browns lead the Sox. And Captain Carl He has popped out to shortstop and singled his third time up. 5 and a 10 is going to be a potential home run. And Yaz gets a hold of this, and it is gone over the green monster. Captain Carl. A circuit shot, and he has tied this game up, leading off the 6th inning. It is now 2-2. And Culp gets a new ball. Prepares to face George Scott. Scott can hurt you too. Here comes a pitch, and 2 and a 5, and that is going to be a skinny single. And Scott drives that past second base, hit that too hard for McManus to get to, and the Sox have a runner on first base. One already in, nobody out. Carlton Fisk up. And Pudge waves his bat. Gets a hold in the batter's box. Here comes a pitch, and 6 and an 8, and that's going to be a single. And George Scott is not nicknamed Boomer because he's fast. He's an 11, so he's going to hold at second base. And still no action yet in the Shallow Browns bullpen. Their bullpen is so shallow it's actually more of a waiting pool. Dwight Evans steps in. 4 and a 9, and that's going to be a fly ball to left field. The runners hold, 1 out. So 2 runners on for the Sox, and Butch Hobson's ready to stand on his head. I don't know how that happened. Steps in. Hobson has flown out twice to center and left. Here comes the pitch from Culp. 5 and a 12, and that is a ground ball to first base. It's going to move the runners along. So Hobson does his job there on the 3 unassisted put out by Sisler. And Rick Miller has ducks on the pond with 2 outs, and Culp looking to get out of this jam. The pitch, 6 and a 4 is going to be a fly ball to center field, and he will do it. His baby doll puts that away. So the Sox come up with another 3 hits. That's 10 for the game now, but the best they can do is a leadoff home run by Yaz. And we're heading to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we're tied up at 2. So this one is shaping up to be a little bit of a barn burner going down the stretch here. Fergie Jenkins working on the 1 hitter, but that 1 hit was a big one. Ellerby up, 3-10, and that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. Burleson takes care of that. Over to Scott, 6-3, 1 down. George Sisler up, and Sisler has flown out twice to center and right. 2 and an 8, and you can't contain him forever. Sisler gets the 2nd hit of the game for the Browns. It's a single right back up the middle, and Sisler, will steal on a roll of 6 or less. It is a 6. So behind the plate, Pudge will be a -4 with my altered basic stealing system. And Daisy's back there questioning the decision of Sisler to run, knowing that. So Sisler needs a 1-13 to be safe. Here we go. And Fisk guns him down. So that threat is promptly erased, and that brings up Ken Williams with 2 outs. And 6 and a 6. And Jenkins, that's a potential skinny triple. And going to drop in front of the left fielder there for a single. So Williams with the 2nd Browns hit of the day. And again, like I said, they get frisky on the base paths. He's going to hold, though. Give Baby Doll Jacobson a chance to hit. And 2 and 11, and it's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. And Burleson takes that the easy way to second, and Fergie is out of it. Browns come up with a couple of hits, leave 1, and we are 2/3 of the way through this one, and it's 2-2 heading to the top of the 7th inning. And back to the top of the order for the Bo Sox. The Rooster steps in. Culp the pitch, and 2 and a 6. That's going to be a ground ball down to third base, and Ellerby, we have not called his name tonight, takes care of the put out over to Sisler. 1 down for the diminutive Denny Doyle. 4 and a 5, and it'll be a ground ball down to McManus. So 2 quick outs for the Brownies, and stepping in is Jim Rice, Big Jim. double back in the first inning. Has popped up twice since then, 5 and a 7. It's going to be a ground ball down to second base, and again, McManus, a 1. And 17 on the roll there, and he gets to it, whips it over to Sisler, and 3 up, 3 down for Culp in the 7th. So 7th inning stretch time, and up is Marty McManus. The last strains of the Oregon fade into the night like a Christy Mathewson screwball as McManus is set to hit. Here comes a pitch from Fergie. And 2 and a 4. It's going to be a ground ball right back to the pitcher. Jenkins takes care of that, 1 down. So one thing outside of that home run, Jenkins has shut down the Browns tonight. 3-hitter. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think they've ever been shackled like this previously. 4 and a 7, and that's going to be a single for Severide. And as usual, I open my mouth to say something good, and something contradicts it. So Severide on, and he is not a stealer. Needs a 2 to go. Does not get that. Chick short and up, 1 down. He's going to swing away. And 1 and a 10. That's going to be a single. And Severide is a 1 to 10 base running, 50-50 shot. We're not going to take that. First and second. 1 down. Wally Gerber up, and Gerber, he's been fairly productive from the 9th spot in the Browns order this season. And that is a 4 and a 6. And that's going to be a big strikeout for Fergie, 2 down. Back to the top of the order, Jack Tobin up, and Happy Jack steps in. Going to go Jack in the box here, 2 and a 7, and he's going to draw a walk and load the bases. So nowhere to put anybody, and if you had to have one player in this lineup up in a bases loaded situation and 2 outs, you would pick Frank Ellerby. Only a 246 hitter in 1922. And 5 and 11, that's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher. And Fergie is a 2. 17-2, and Fergie makes a nice pluck of that, whips it over to first base to retire Ellerby, and gets out of a bases loaded jam. So the Browns tack on a couple of hits, but they cannot get anyone across. We're heading to the 8th inning, still tied at 2. And in the Browns bullpen, Rasty Wright has started to warm up, just in case. Culp really hasn't been damaged by a lot of runs, but he has given up 10 hits today. Captain Carl steps in, and 6s. That'll be a fly ball to right field. 1 down. And he has set down 6 in a row. That might be his longest consecutive stretch of batters retired. 4 and a 5, and it'll be a ground ball down to second base. McManus takes care of that over to Sisler. 2 quick outs. Carlton Fisk up. And Fisk wants a little foul pole magic to left field. Can he get it? 2 and a 9, and it's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop instead. Gerber whips that over to Sisler, and Culp struggled early, but he's been strong the last 4 innings. The only blemish been that 6th inning leadoff home run to Captain Carl Yastrzemski. So we're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. We stay tied at 2. And George Sisler up to face Fergie. 4 and a 5. Ground ball down to second base. And Doyle takes care of Sisler. So Sisler 1 for 4 today. A subpar day for a guy who averaged basically a 2 for 5 performance over the course of an entire season, which is phenomenal. 3 and a 7 to Ken Williams, and Williams draws a walk. So Ken, see if he can ignite a little bit of a fire here. Will run on 5 or less, does not get the jump. Baby Doll Jacobson up, runner on first, 1 down. Here comes a pitch to Baby Doll, 4 and a 6, and struck him out. Fergie giving Spanish lessons today, says que pasa, 2 down as Baby Doll heads back to the dugout. Marty McManus up. A pitch from Fergie, 2 and a 5, ground ball down to second. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong card. 2 and a 5 is a walk. So Jenkins has suffered his bouts of wildness. That is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walks given up by Jenkins. A little bit uncharacteristic there. But Hank Severide up now. And runners on first and second, 2 outs. Fergie the pitch. And 2 and a 7, and that can be a potential single. Down to third base, and no, a nice play by Butch Hobson, robs him. So line out to 5 there, gets Fergie out of the inning. No hits, no runs. He does walk a couple. Browns leave 2. And we're heading to the final frame, and we are tied at 2. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, since Al Red Sox Fan is the sponsor of today's game, and again, check out his great YouTube channel for a variety of baseball, football, and other type of action games, such as Borderlands. Also get some boxing in there with Title Bout. But the reason I mention that is extra innings would be more than appropriate, since anytime Al is in a feed, it seems the game goes extra innings. So 5 and a 4, we'll see if that holds up. And Colt, that's a fly ball to center field. And Baby Doll is a 1. And 2 on the roll there. 2 and a 1, and he gets to that. And Evans is retired for the first out here in the top of the 9th. Butch Hobson steps in for the Sox, and Butch, he is 0 for 3 today. 3 and a 6, and that's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. So Culp is really rolling along now. He has set down 11 straight as Rick Miller steps in. Pitch from Culp, and 4 and 11, struck him out. So Culp getting stronger as the game progresses. 3 up, 3 down in the 9th. And the Brownies, can they win it here in the bottom of the inning with a little walk-off magic? It will be Chick Shorten, Wally Gerber, then back to the top of the order. Fergie the pitch, 3 and a 6. And that's going to be a double for Shorten. So he goes to second base. And up in the bullpen, Bill Campbell starts to warm up with a swiftness. I'm pretty sure we're going to leave Fergie in, though. This is his game. He's pitched well for the most part. Wally Gerber up, and Gerber, looks like we're going to go the sacrifice route here. So Gerber squares. Here comes a pitch, and 8. Batters thrown out at first base. Runners advance. And that's going to be by the third baseman. So Shorten moves to third base now, 1 down. 5-3 on the sacrifice, and top of the order. The winning run is 90 feet away. Can the Browns pull this off in dramatic fashion with a walk-off? Tobin stares down Jenkins. Here comes a pitch. 4 and an 8, and this could be it. A skinny single. No! And that's a great play by Butch Hobson. The second one he's made robs Tobin of a hit, and the runner barely gets back to the base. So 2 down now, and Frank Ellerby again up in a key situation, and the Brownies' worst hitter, Jenkins, fires 3 and a 5, and that's going to be a strikeout. Fergie comes through big time. The winning run on third base, and Jenkins pitches out of it. So we're going extras, folks. And on the mound, Culp will remain as Rick Burleson is set to lead it off. Top of the order for the Sox. 4 and a 9. That's going to be a fly ball to left field. 1 down. Denny Doyle up. Pitch from Culp. And 2 and a 7. Pops him up to first base. Scott takes care of that. And Culp is in fuego right now. 14 straight Sox set down after he gave up 10 hits through the first 6 innings. 4 and a 7 and struck him out. So Culp, another 3 up, 3 down inning. And the Brownies once again will have a chance to walk it off in style. And Fergie's going to stay on the mound for the Sox. And both teams going old school, staying with their starters here. This is the dead ball revisited in 1977. 1 and an 8 to Sisler, and that is a single. And what did you expect there? Sisler, see if he can get a jump here. 4, he does. So again, 1 to 13, and he goes, and he's in there under the throw by Fisk. A big stolen base. And still not going to the pen. I'm going to give Jenkins one more batter. Hopefully it is not the last one faced. Ken Williams steps in. 2 and a 5, and that is a single back up the middle. Sisler, is he going to try it? He is a 1 to 16. Miller comes up with it. Here comes the throw to the plate, and Sisler slides in under the throw. Game-winning run for the Brownies. A walk-off single by Ken Williams, and a heartbreaking defeat for Fergie Jenkins and the Red Sox as the Browns pull this out in 10. 3 to 2, and again, the player of the game, it's got to be Ken Williams. He went 2 for 4 today, 2 singles and a walk, but the game winner, you could look at Marty McManus, who was 1 for 3 with a 2-run shot. Or you could go with Ray Culp, who survived some shaky business in the first 6 innings and ended up, he retired the last 15 Browns that he faced. So after a leadoff home run by Yaz, George Scott and Carlton Fisk singled in the 6th. And from that point on, the Sox did not have another base runner. As again, he set down the final 15 batters he faced. So you know what? I think we're going to go with the pitcher. I think that's a good choice. Player of the game, Ray Culp. And his final stats may not look that pretty. He did give up 10 hits, as mentioned, but he pitched out of trouble when he had to. 2 earned runs, 1 home run, and for strikeouts, he had 7 strikeouts, and I do not believe he walked a batter. He did not walk a batter. So there you go. So the Brownies, they moved to 12 and 3, 15 games into this 1977 Time Machine replay, which is going to be good enough for their hold on first place. And I think next video we have to get back to the Battle of the Ages, Judge versus Jackson project. And that will be Judge and Jackson facing pitching staff from 1977. So we'll do that probably not today, as I have a party and other things to go to, but probably get to that early Sunday morning. Sunday is a free day. So as always, thanks for watching, and thank you to our game sponsor, friend of the channel, Al Red Sox fan. Make sure you check out his channel again, Out of the Park 19 he's got going on. Has some 2nd and 10 football, Strat-O-Matic computer baseball, and various other border games such as Borderlands and boxing. Always does a great job, and fitting that he sponsored this game. We did go extra innings because that is his thing. So until next time, thanks for watching, everyone, and keep rolling for the fences. Have a great day.